Hey, Cactus crew. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Bill. Welcome to my channel. I've just read a whole bunch of Katie Joy comments from Reddit. This is in relation to her coverage on Blake Lively's lawsuit with Justin Baldoni. These comments are from May 2025, and there is a lot. I will put timestamps in the description box. I don't comment much during this video, mainly because I'm gobsmacked. If you enjoy this video, give it a like. Comment below, let me know what you think, and please do consider subscribing. You can follow me on TikTok, X, Instagram, and Facebook at It's Crystal Bill. I encourage all of you to do your own research. Check out my other videos on Without a Crystal Ball to form your own opinion. This video really does contain my opinions and thoughts as someone who's been on this carousel from hell for the past 5 years and counting. The title is Ryan and Blake Have Reporters Sniffing Around About Me. Hi besties. So I had a couple solid sources that I speak to on the regular, and one of them contacted me 2 days ago. Apparently a reporter at the New York-based office with ties to Leslie Sloan and at a place she's known to plant stories is working to discredit my reporting. My source was contacted and asked all about my reporting. They were basically put on the hot seat and the reporter was trying to debunk me. They said the reporter brought up my blog several times. I'm not a blogger. I own a small business, digital media company. Apparently, my source confronted them and asked if they were being fed information from Leslie Sloan, and the reporter ended the call. So I went public with what I heard. Then Blake Lively uploaded a story to her Instagram using a Rolling Stones song that referenced crystal balls, and she joked about how an emoji app was making her feel psychic. It was so gross. I knew it was directed at me. I'm going to cross-post this to let people know, but I'm pretty sure that I'm on their target list now. So if you start seeing bulldog shit about me, CIA guy is on the case. Then someone says, I was aware before she covered Blake that she had a troubled history, but she's worked hard to address everything and improve her work. Katie replies, I don't have a troubled history. That's not accurate. I was sued by 3 narcissists. One is in prison, one is a cult leader, and the other was dismissed. I have nothing to apologize for. The infiltration are bots and supporters of a cult leader suing me. They are also supporters of Blake. I don't believe I'm the most popular. I don't have a big head. I'm not even close to the most popular. I have never cared about that. These people always deflect their crap on me. Someone says, research, look her up for yourself. She has been sued several times for defamation. She is not reliable at all. She lies constantly. Katie says, I haven't lost a single lawsuit. Todd Chrisley is in prison, and I'm sure you are a big supporter of a cult leader being sued for sex trafficking and rape, because that's one suing me now. Katie says, she's right. My state case, we filed a motion for summary judgment in January and still no ruling. Nothing. A lot of these motions will likely be withdrawn as moot, or the judge will get to it and it's no longer relevant. The motions to compel are premature right now, which is kind of why he's not ruling immediately. The motion to quash by Stephanie Jones is a third party asking the court to intervene, so she's lower on the totem pole. I don't know why Jones filed the motion in the Lively case, unless that's where the subpoena came from. The Second Circuit, which includes New York, has a standard guideline for how they handle motions to dismiss. Their rule is that judges have 180 days to either rule on the motion to dismiss or to set a hearing. A lot of times in court, motion to dismiss includes hearings. When the judge reaches 180 days, he either has to rule or schedule a hearing before the court. Judges have a ton of cases assigned to them. Since the beginning of this year, Judge Lyman has been assigned 79 cases and 362 cases since January 2024. He's presiding over hundreds of cases right now. This case is not his only priority. I have repeatedly said the trial will not happen in March 2026 because civil courts are so backed up. This will kick delayed, and kicked will take years. Why has the creator Better Be stopped posting about Blake Ryan? Katie replies, I don't think anyone has been sent letters. Emily Baker is horrible. I have stories for days about what a horrible human she is and how she led the internet against me. She built her channel off slandering me for years. I don't know B, but he's not relevant really. Ask two lawyers work near LA, and Manat is a huge firm. So they want to go up against them, my opinion. Another comment by Katie. I absolutely blocked Anna after she refused to respond. A separate PR person said Anna is reaching out in the PR world for interview, and no one feels good about her angle. They all believe this is specifically to help Ryan and target Melissa Nathan. And to the person attempting to discredit me, the Without a Crystal Ball Reddit is filled with members of cults, abusers, narcs that hate me for reporting on their bad behavior. So this thread is, let's say there's evidence of Blake trying to get Taylor to delete text. Would that be enough to get the case against Justin dismissed if we also add in the sham subpoena? Katie replies, spoliation of evidence is a huge issue in civil cases. It can lead to sanctions, monetary fines, attorney fees, adverse instructions to the jury about the missing evidence. The interference is that the evidence destroyed would have been adverse to the party that destroyed the evidence. Katie Joy has destroyed her own evidence that she was using to prove that 7M and Robert Shin are a cult. So in a lot of these comments, she's actually projecting her own shit, reveals quite a lot about her own lawsuit. Friedman can file a motion to strike pleadings of Blake's in whole or in part due to spoliation. It can lead to the judge not allowing a party to introduce evidence and, in rare cases, throwing out the entire case. In some cases, spoliation and witness tampering can lead to criminal charges. Another thread in the Justin Baldoni supporters. This point about Taylor Swift being dragged in is spot on. Katie replies, she's accurate. Civil litigation can destroy the average person's financial and emotional lives. It's horrible. So for the celebrities to whine about being dragged in, it's just another sign of their entitlement. This is a comment where someone is talking about needing a new gin, and Katie says, Tanqueray is my favourite. I prefer vodka martinis though. Grey Goose is my favourite vodka. This is in the thread. Nag takes on Lively's discovery. Katie's comment. Understood. I understand many people like her commentary here. I will say that she's very different than my lawyers. Many lawyers will absolutely speak to the patterns of abusive litigants and the warning signs. I've learned a ton having been sued by 2 malignant narcissists, and one still ongoing. What they are filing against Wayfarer right now is what I have gone through in my current cases. The premature motions to compel, the unreasonable document demands, and the complaining that I'm not complying when they've provided nothing. I am 3 years into my case. To date, we never got a single document to prove damages. We did multiple motions to compel, and they would retaliate by filing one against me. We didn't do depositions until 2.5 years in. All of the people we deposed lied under oath. I have been in federal court where someone filed motion after motion for PR purposes to make me look bad. All of the false filings were broadcast all over YouTube. People who I didn't know gave the person evidence claiming that I worked with them. I was accused of stalking, hacking, sending death threats, and I did none of it. I faced litigators like the ones that Blake has that will do and say anything to people that are less powerful. It's horrible. Justin and his crew are doing none of that. Todd Chrisley uploaded 7 or 8 podcasts via his nationally syndicated podcast where he falsely accused me of child abuse and committing crimes. He created an email, encouraged people to speak out about being victims of me. His email was victims of WOACB@gmail.com. He tweeted about me nonstop and sent his fans after me. He only stopped right before his criminal trial started, and he then wanted to settle. I countersued him. We settled with no liability on my end. All of the podcasts were removed, but people still spread the lies he said about me to this day. So I get what Justin is going through. Someone said, but was your lawyer speaking to you privately? I assume correct? Katie replies, I never said what they told me privately. They will speak to those issues. I would never, ever say what my attorneys told me. That would violate attorney-client privilege. Many attorneys on the internet speak about narcissism and litigation. There are several on YouTube that make videos weekly. There are also many attorneys on YouTube that will speak to the patterns of motions. I believe nothing from Jones or Lively's teams. They are appeasing their narcissistic clients and billing them to oblivion. Also, thank you. I'm glad that Todd is in prison. He's a horrible man. This is in response to Nag's coverage, not actually Golden. I think Nag is missing the point that Lively has produced nothing. Nag isn't considering that Lively is an abusive narcissist and these are necessary. Someone comments, she's commenting from a legal perspective, not an emotional one. Two things can be true at once. Katie replies, I'm not emotional. I understand the legal side of this case. I disagree with her legal opinion. Katie continues, I think it's weird that expressing my opinion is getting downvotes. I simply said I didn't agree with her on this video. That's all. Attorneys often have vastly different opinions, and very few have experience with high-profile narcs. Okay, so this is all about ADHD and speculation whether Justin Baldoni has ADHD. Katie says, my husband has inattentive type, like you. I'm classic combined ADHD, and our son is combined type and autistic. I'm glad you got help and are feeling better. My guess is that Justin has ADHD, which he is not treating with medication. Impulsive speech is common with ADHD and can be controlled with medication. It's my understanding that Baldoni and many in his group are less inclined to treat mental health conditions through meds. They appear to embrace the lifestyle of using nature and spirituality to achieve their goals. I have my feelings on this, but if his text is true, he wouldn't need to sit with a doctor to look at his brain. If he went to a psychiatrist or a psychologist and began treatment, despite my feelings on the above, because I am a person with ADHD that spent 38 years untreated and then started meds, I know what it's like to try everything to fix your awkward and impulsive behavior. There is so much shame related to it. There is also a lot of social isolation that occurs because you unintentionally offend people. But I don't believe that screenshot at all says what they claim it says. It does not say he sexually harassed anyone. I think Justin is being gaslit by Lively to believe he was inappropriate when he wasn't. She's using it against him. Good for Kevin Fritz for pointing out the lawsuit and illegal evidence. This proves that they will be seeking to have the evidence tossed. Someone's reply to that, I just want to add, and I hope that's okay, but it's absolutely possible to treat ADHD with different types of therapies. Medication is not always the answer, and just because someone isn't medicated doesn't mean that ADHD isn't in check. Katie replies, if ADHD is causing behavior that is interfering with your life, it is not managed. ADHD is a medical condition, no different than having any other chronic illness. The brain is not producing enough dopamine. The lack of dopamine in the brain directly impacts the frontal lobe of the brain, which manages executive functioning. When your executive functioning is impaired, this impacts the cognitive skills needed to plan, organize, and manage tasks, emotions, and impulses. Broken down further, it impacts difficulty breaking down and managing tasks, working memory, being unable to hold information in your mind while performing a task, being easily distracted, difficulty shifting focus, poor impulse control, verbal impulsivity, difficult managing emotions, difficult managing anger and frustration, and struggling to adapt to new situations or changes of plans. ADHD causes ruminating and spiraling thoughts that are uncontrollable. These can cause fear and anxiety. For me, these spiraling thoughts made me get stuck in a loop of dread and fear. I could not stop the thoughts no matter how hard I tried. I often felt paranoid or nervous about the most mundane situations. That all went away with meds. There are studies that have shown untreated ADHD increases the risk of a person developing dementia. My mum developed dementia at 73 and never treated her ADHD. There are strategies that can be used to manage the ADHD without medication, but using medication improves the symptoms, provides your brain the necessary dopamine it needs to reduce the risk of developing dementia. After watching my mum be debilitated by ADHD her whole life and impacting her ability to be a good mother, then watching her develop dementia at a young age, I'm going to treat my ADHD. The stigma surrounding ADHD is a huge part of the problem, along with people misunderstanding the use of amphetamines to treat their illness. The amphetamines are given at a small therapeutic level. The drug provides the brain with the dopamine it needs, and the symptoms impacting executive function improve. Because anxiety is a comorbid with ADHD, many people with ADHD feel anxious or fear about using meds. They seek alternative medications and are prone to being manipulated by people who push fake treatment. I'm passionate about reducing the stigma about medications and treatment. My life changed tenfold with treatment. I remember the first month my brain was quiet. I felt so relieved. The spiraling anxiety and fear of upsetting others was gone. I could be the person I knew I was on the inside. Untreated anxiety and ADHD made me very high-strung and reactionary. I could not relax, while on the inside I felt like this laid-back person. My outward symptoms didn't match my internal feelings. When I got treated, those symptoms disappeared, and now I'm a laid-back person that doesn't get riled up or overreact. What? I'm sharing in hopes that others aren't ashamed of getting treatment. I spent 38 years and tried every single strategy and natural method, and none worked until I went on meds. Someone says, I'm absolutely not saying meds are a bad thing. Meds can be useful and life-changing. The stigma around them is bulldang. I'm saying there shouldn't be a stigma around any treatment, including therapy, including medication, including whatever tools you need to live a fulfilling life. Katie replies, I just want to prevent anyone from suffering silently and with shame believing they can fix themselves when they are missing dopamine in their brain. In regards to Katie breaking the story about the Van Zandt subpoena, I would assume this subpoena would have been asked for on day one. Can some lawyer explain how you don't produce it? Delay tactics? Katie replies, Hey, so I've been sued. I can tell you that discovery takes a long time. They can request all documents, but it doesn't mean that behind the scenes, Jones and Lively aren't dragging their feet. In fact, many litigants don't meet the deadlines for discovery. Often the volume of discovery provided can take lawyers to sort through what they have received. Also, Blake can object to providing the subpoena, so thus they probably do not have it. Discovery is brutal and it's not public. Katie says, I will tell you that I've worked as an investigative journalist for 8 years. No, you have not. Stop lying. And there are unethical lawyers that will go to the end of the earth to satisfy their narcissistic clients. What Lively attorneys have done is not ethical at all. For this lawyer to claim this is normal or permitted, she's delusional. There are lawyers that do not care about breaking rule for their high-profile clients. They too believe they are above the law. There is due process of the courts and was used for the sole purpose of obtaining records from one person that was not even listed in the sham lawsuit. By not naming any defendants, Lively was able to avoid having to notice Wayfarer or Abel. This allowed Jones to breach her confidentiality agreement to cure her improper disclose of the records in August. I hate lawyers like this. MJ or anyone that helps narcissists hurt people through the court. Katie says, I share information I find, share theories about the case and my experience of exposing narcissists. So sometimes my theories may be wrong, but it's no different than an attorney giving their opinion because we are all outside parties. We are all sharing from our experience. I don't know MJ, but generally, I try not to disparage others. I am definitely not unhinged. Painting another female creator as unhinged is very misogynistic as MJ. I can play their games. The only unhinged ones are BL and SJ. Brian Friedman did not know about the Van Zandt subpoena. Someone commented, you seem a bit resentful of me. I'm not sure why, but I'm assuming it's because I've had to debunk you twice this month so far on law-related comments you've made. Katie replied, I'm not resentful of you at all. Also, in civil court, the evidence in a civil case can be removed through a motion in limine. But that's not the issue at hand. I have nothing against you at all. Civil law and criminal law have different standards for evidence in the US courts. In this case, the evidence is unlikely to be suppressed because Justin has already provided the full text messages to the court. What is more likely to happen is what Friedman stated to the Daily Mail. There is likely amendment to the complaint that may be filed under the grounds that new evidence has been obtained, and the judge must grant a leave to amend the complaint because justice so requires the amendment. This is what Friedman is signaling, that they are likely to add a few new claims for absence of process and possibly interference in business contracts. Hope this helps. Again, I have nothing against you. UK and US laws are different. Because an attorney in a different country is wonderful, but your legal system is very different than ours. I'm sorry I misinterpreted the comment. I've seen several saying the same thing and thought I was being dragged. Well done on the fine. Katie replies, thanks for understanding. I have a tendency to be a straight shooter to my own detriment sometimes, so I'm sorry if it came off harsh. We are all sharing our best understanding of the case at hand. I'm not a lawyer, but have covered many cases in my work as an independent journalist. Sometimes I share theories that could be an angle that could change the direction of the case. Sometimes my theories are taken as fact. I don't know that I've ever said as fact that anything in this case is one way or another. I will say that the lawsuit Blake filed against no defendants is incredibly problematic for her. Her attorneys will never admit what they did was wrong because it would lead to civil liability and possible sanctions. I fully expect Blake and Stephanie to keep doubling down. Leanne Newton replies, honestly, it's all good. Thank you for clarifying.